Well, hello, Gators, and anybody else who might be watching this on YouTube. Welcome. It is 2020's Computer Science Education Week, and I'm here to give a brief overview of what that actually means and a few resources that we can use to celebrate and bring more awareness to what computer science actually is. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my presentation here through Keynote. And like I said, this is Computer Science Education Week. It is this first full week here in December and goes all week long. Now, some of the things with this that you'll probably hear is the hour of code. Now, in the past, it's just kind of been an hour of code. Okay, go in, do an hour of code. But I want to go into the whys, the purpose, the whole reasoning of what the hour of code means and why it brings up so many different things, especially for us at Sherman now that we are a STEM-focused school. Now, this right here, this is actually from Apple, and it is a great little quote here. And I'm going to remove myself from this so that we can make sure to see it fully. But it is saying, when you teach code, you're not only teaching the language of technology, you're teaching new ways to think and bring ideas to life. And coding with Swift, which is Apple's powerful, intuitive, and easy to learn programming language, provides students fun and engaging ways to prepare for the future. Every student should have the opportunity to create something that can change the world. Now, I absolutely agree with that every child should have the opportunity to create something that can change the world, regardless of their economic status, regardless of what school they go to. But far too often do we only spend a little bit of time on this particular piece. Now, this quote here talks about Swift, Apple's version of coding, and it is turning out to be one of the main platforms to do coding with. But there are going to be two others that I'm going to talk about. But first, here is a video. This video here, you may have seen before. It's a few years old. It's actually from 2013. And it goes over the one thing that schools don't teach.
I was 13 when I first got access to a computer.
My parents bought me a Macintosh in 1984 when I was 8 years old.
I was in 6th grade.
I learned to code in college.
Freshman year, first semester, intro to computer science.
I wrote a program to play tic-tac-toe.
I think it was pretty humble beginnings. I think the first program I wrote asked things like, what's your favorite color? Or how old are you?
I first learned how to make a green circle and a red square appear on the screen.
The first time I actually had something come up and say, hello world, and I made a computer do that. It was just astonishing.
Learning how to program didn't start off as wanting to learn all of computer science or trying to master this discipline or anything like that. It just started off because I wanted to do this one simple thing. I wanted to make something that was fun for myself and my sisters. And I wrote this little program and then basically just add a little bit to it. And then when I needed to learn something new, I looked it up either in a book or on the internet and then added a little bit to it.
It's really not unlike kind of playing an instrument or something, or playing a sport. It starts out being very intimidating, but you kind of get the hang of it over time.
Coding is something that can be learned, and I know it can be intimidating. A lot of things are intimidating, but what isn't?
A lot of the coding that people do is actually fairly simple. It's more about the process of breaking down problems than sort of coming up with complicated algorithms as people traditionally think about it.
You don't have to be a genius to know how to code. You need to be determined.
Addition, subtraction, that's about it.
You should probably know your multiplication tables.
You don't have to be a genius to code. Do you have to be a genius to read?
Even if you want to become a race car driver or play baseball, or build a house, all of these things have been turned upside down by software.
What it is, computers are everywhere. You want to work in agriculture? Do you want to work in entertainment? Do you want to work in manufacturing? It's just all over.
Here we are, 2013. We all depend on technology to communicate, to bank, information, and none of us know how to read and write code.
When I was in school, I was in this after-school group called the Whiz Kids. And when people found out, they laughed at me and, all these things. And I'm like, man, I don't care. I think it's cool. And, I'm learning a lot. And some of my friends have jobs.
Our policy is literally to hire as many talented engineers as we can find. The whole limit in the system is just that there just aren't enough people who are trained and have these skills today.
To get the very best people, we try to make the office as awesome as possible.
We have a fantastic chef,
Free food,
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
free laundry,
snacks, even places to play and video games and scooters. There's all these kind of interesting things around the office and places where people can play or relax, or go to think or play music or be creative.
Whether you're trying to make a lot of money or whether you just want to change the world, computer programming is an incredibly empowering skill to learn.
I think if someone had told me that software is really about humanity, that it's really about helping people by using computer technology, it would have changed my outlook a lot earlier.
To be able to actually come up with an idea and then see it in your hands and then be able to press a button and have it be in millions of people's hands. I think we're the first generation in the world that's really ever had that kind of experience.
Just to think that you can start something in your college dorm room and you can have a set of people who haven't built a big company before come together and build something that 1 billion people use as part of their daily lives is just crazy to think about, right? It's humbling and it's amazing.
The programmers of tomorrow are the wizards of the future. You're going to look like you have magic powers compared to everybody else.
I think it's amazing. I think it's the closest thing we have to a superpower.
Great coders are today's rock stars. That's it.
All right. Well, I know that was a bit long of a video, about 5 to 6 minutes long there, but it is actually really, really good. And we saw some pictures there, some images, some videos with people, like Bill Gates. We got Mark Zuckerberg. We got Jeff Bezos, who is in a couple of the other things later, but as part of it, the guy who invented Twitter, Chris Bosh. We got a lot of these different people that are taking the time and have took the time back, when the video was produced, but I know they've gone leaps and bounds more than just that. Now, if I go back to the little presentation here that I created, now we're going to talk about the hour of code here. Now, hour of code now doesn't necessarily need to be a full hour. No, some kids don't take that full hour. I know at some of the schools I've been in the past, we took a whole day to learn about coding, and it was a lot of fun. But for some kids, that's just too much. But taking an hour to kind of go over some of this stuff is a good stepping point, a good starting point for some. And this quote right here from Bill Gates saying, "Learning to write programs stretches your mind." helps you think better and creates a way of thinking about things that I think is helpful in all domains. And again, that was from Bill Gates. And I would definitely have to agree with that learning to code, it changes the way you think. And that's something that is really, really needed, especially in times like this where we're just so one-track mind right now. We're just trying to survive, to use coding to figure out a way to get other things and get out of this mess. Now, code is a superpower that every young woman should be able to access. Now, this is from Carly Kloss, who created the Code with Klossy site. And she's right, girls, this isn't just about the boys, it's about girls too. As Mayala, and I cannot pronounce her last name, my apologies, but every girl deserves to take part in creating the technology that will change our world and change who runs it. Now, those are two very powerful women in the computer science industry in the world there that we're talking about. But I do want to make one thing and say one thing here that might kind of throw some people off on this, but that's okay, is we've been spending an awful lot of time about promoting coding and science and all this with the girls that we sometimes oddly forget about the boys. So we want to make sure that we're equal in both, that we do want to get the girls in there, and we want to make sure to keep the boys in there or get them in there as well. Some boys don't even realize that it takes computer science to create the video games that they're probably playing right now instead of attending one of our classes. So we need to create that hook. We need to draw them in to computer science and draw them back into our classes. Now, the three main ones that I'm going to talk about first off here is the Hour of Code with Swift Playgrounds. There is a facilitator guide to help you walk through this. The Swift Playgrounds is part of Apple's Everybody Can Code curriculum, which is a 100% free curriculum that we have access to, especially with us, those of us that are taking part of the on-ramp program with Apple and Boise State. And that's a good starting spot. Another one that we have is Minecraft. Minecraft has a full hour of code curriculum this year. Last year they got started with it the past couple years actually, but this year they're actually taking it a next step and creating a whole other part to it. And the last one is the Hour of Code with the code.org that I've been referencing and started with referencing here, that has a plethora of information out there for you. Now, all three of those are going to be linked below in the description, and actually I'm going to put it on the screen here for where to get these resources. I made a page on my webpage for all these things, where this video is going to be housed, where you will find some other resources for the Swift, the Minecraft, and the code.org. That would also be a good spot to send parents to if you would like to get them involved as well. But don't feel like you have to do this. This is just merely a suggestion, a way for you to get the ball rolling with coding. And it is my hope, my desire, that we actually take more time to do more and more and more coding in the classroom so that we can help those kids learn in a different way, so that we can get their minds to think differently. And it's a hope of mine, and it's something that I would sincerely hope that we can get through. Now, if you need any help with any of this, please don't hesitate to reach out. Don't hesitate to come down to the swamp, drop me an email, send me a message on Twitter, any of the above, and we will make sure to get the resources to you that you need, and I can help you. I'm sure we have other people around that can help you, not just in our building, because I know we have plenty, but also people outside of our building that know a lot more about coding than I do. I hope you find this useful. Again, all the information will be linked below, and I want to thank you for everything that you are doing for the students, and I'll talk to you later. And as we always say, it's great to be a Gator.